It's a Knacks. So glad you're joining me. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful snowmen. Now, I thought I had to come on this video and show you because with me in the picture, you can actually see how big they are. These guys are huge, and people are, kids in particularly, but even adults, because I love them. And they are so fun to make. Not that hard if you're a beginner. You're going to learn some new skills. If you're not, well, you're going to whip through it. So I am happy to bring this to you. I've got the list of yarns down in the description box below, so please always look down there and find the particulars that you need, as well as a little note from me and a few other things. All the supplies that I use, I'll link down in the description box below as well, so you'll want to take a look for that. But aren't they just adorable, these little snowman pals? I'm calling them jumbo snowmen because that's exactly what they are. They are about 18 and a half inches tall, and around the widest part of their belly, they're 27 inches, so they're huge, they're huge. I show you how to make both smiles, both faces, in the video. They're both so cute. And the beanies that I did are just opposite color combinations, and I show you how to do that too, and the scarves as well. So friends, I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Thanks for joining me. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and come on over and join my Facebook group if you haven't done so already. Show us your snowman. And friends, I do have a PayPal link at the bottom of on my homepage, just underneath the description of the channel, and I'd love for you to click on that if you feel so inclined. That would help my channel out a lot. If not, that's fine. Totally either way. Thank you again for joining me. I sure hope that you enjoy this tutorial, and please show us your creations when you're done. I'd love to see them. All right, grab your supplies and let's get started. I have my 46 needle machine set up. Friends, go ahead and use your 48 needle centro if that's what you have, and it'll be just as beautiful. We're going to bring our last white and our first black needle in line with our yarn guide. And if you're new, take a black permanent marker and mark that red divider that's between the two. Then you'll always see when the end of your row is coming around. We're going to take our white yarn. We're going to cast on with a drawstring cast on, going in front of that first black, behind, in front, behind, in front, and behind, all the way around. And just let that yarn slip through your fingers. So I say that all the time because you do not want any tension on your cast on row, because there's no weight yet in our project to help push those loops down over these red teeth in the next round. And so you need this to be fairly loose. Before you get to the end of your row, you're going to set your row counter to 0. We do not count this row that we just did, but we start counting on the next row. It's in front of, or behind that last white. Oops. And into the yarn feeder it goes. I always take that little yarn tail and pull it down on that first needle so that that loop is over those red teeth. And we're going to begin knitting. I want you to go slowly for the first round, giving those loops a chance to get down over those red teeth. I hold my yarn in my hand between my two fingers like this. There's very little tension that's being added. But you want to go slow so that those loops go down over the red teeth and not in between and give you a split stitch, or not stay up on the white needle and give you a duplicate stitch, or pardon me, a tucked stitch. So you want to go nice and slow, even with the next round, round 2. Take that little extra time, pay attention to that little detail, and you will not be sorry. And see, now I can find the speed and the tension that my machine likes with this yarn. Generally, you can go, if your machine's like mine, which it should be, if you're using BERNAT premium yarn, you should be able to go at a good clip because our machines love it. BERNAT premium is different than regular BERNAT, so don't be fooled when you go to the store and you find a regular BERNAT. So far, the only place I can find BERNAT premium is at Walmart. So if you get it anywhere else, not just the plain BERNAT, but the BERNAT premium, if you get it anywhere else, please put it in the comments below and let us all know where you get it from. That would be awesome. We're going to keep going. This is a snowman, so it's fairly easy. We have just one color, and that is white. Let's go for 72 rows. But once I get to the place where my project is touching the table, I'll come back and I'll see you and show you what to do with that if you are new. If you're not new and you know what to do with it, then go ahead, keep knitting till you get to 72 rows. my project is starting to touch the table, and so now I want to take care of it, because if I don't, it's going to keep pushing up like this, and that loosens the tension around your barrel here and could drop it. You could drop a stitch off these little red teeth by pushing up too hard, or it just like doesn't keep the tension even. So you've got to pick it up, roll it in a donut, just like that, and that will help this to remain a little bit tighter, which is what you want when you are knitting. Now you'll also notice that, I don't know if you can see on the side from this view, but I hooked up my ZestWrench adapter, electric adapter, which I just got. And I did an extensive video on it to tell you my thoughts and to show you how it works. And I thought, because this is a plain color and I know my machine loves this yarn, then I would go ahead and hook it up. And I'm gonna, you might have seen it in that last clip, but it was a fast clip, but I'm gonna put it on. There we go. And let it go. And if you make sure that you're using yarn that your machine loves, and that it is very loose coming out of the ball, and that you're still keeping an eye on all these stitches here, I think this is a great little addition to our knitting. Now, I will not use this ZestWrench adapter on a regular basis, just because I want to save the life of it and, you know, not wear it out too quickly. But I am not concerned that at this speed of it cranking, that it's going to hurt my needles or my gears in the machine, because I can crank faster than this. And, but one thing, like I mentioned in that tutorial that I made on, specifically on the ZestWrench adapter, is that one of the tips that I mentioned to you is that you have to make sure that you use yarn that works. Now, I made 2 of these snowmen, as you can see from the beginning of the tutorial, and I love this yarn red for the first one that I did. That was my demo as I was creating this pattern, and my machine hated the red in both the variegated and the regular red. Even when I manually knit, I hooked up this ZestWrench adapter to see if it would be any different, and it was about the same. It tucked stitches just like when I was doing it without. So I chose to just do it without the adapter on that, because then I could fix the tuck stitches and watch them come around, and it was easier for me. So the only time I'll use this thing is when I know that I have yarn, like what I'm using here. You've seen it's working beautifully, that will not give my machine any trouble. And I'm going to use it on special occasions. I'm not going to use it for every project. So there you go. I thought I would just give you a sneak peek of the ZestWrench electric adapter. Go look for that tutorial on my channel, and please listen to it fully, because I give you tips that I would really want you to consider using if you purchase one of these. I will have the links to this in the description box below. I'm going to keep going till I have 72 rows. Now that we have 72 rows, we are going to take a long tail that's long enough to go around our barrel 1.5 to 2 times. You can measure it if you're new. If you're not new, then that doesn't matter. You can open your latch, because we know we can eyeball it. I often will cut more than I need, actually. Taking our needle, we're going to do the drawstring cast off. Making sure that yarn is between the last white and the first black. We're going to put a little bit of tension on it because we still have to finish knitting these 2, and we're going to turn our handle. I'm going to just stand up here by my machine. Makes it easier. As I turn my handle, when that first needle drops down, I can pick up that loop. Turn it a little further. And pick up the next, and until we get some slack on there, we have to pick up 1 or 2 at a time, like that. And turn that. Now I can do 4. Pop that yarn tail back into the center, give that a turn, pick that up, and go around. We're going to pick up all of our stitches, placing them on our needle, holding them with our thumb as we go to the next one. You're going to want to pull your yarn tail out to the side. Do not pull it up, because when you have, if you had some stitches that were loose, just like this one, if I was to pick up like this, and I'm to pull up like this, if I pull too high, I'm going to drop that stitch off. So you can either put your finger over and pull it that way, or you just pull it out to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to release all of my stitches onto the needle. You can get quite a few before you have to pull it through if you're holding it with your thumb. Again, these metal needles, I'll have a link to them in the description box below. And there we go. We have our piece off the machine. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make 2 more exactly like it. I have my 3 tubes completed. And once you have yours done, you're going to take them, you're going to stretch them widthwise and lengthwise, all 3 of them, just to line up those stitches, those rows, make it nice and soft. And BERNAT Premium just works like a charm in my machine. We're going to take 2 of those panels, and what we're going to do is we're going to mattress stitch up the side. So you're going to, let's get some of these tails just out of the way here. We're going to just put one on top of the other, but what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to find an edging where the wide part of the V, and if you've watched me do this before, you know, the wide part of the V has to go to the left and the point is down at the right. And you're going to find that edging, okay, anywhere on your tube. It's only the last one that you have to, or the next one that you join, that we have to be more careful, and I'll show you that when we get to there. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I'm going to find an edge where the wide part of the tube, or wide part of the stitch is going to the left and the point is at the right. I'm going to line those 2 up. Lost it here. I'm going to line those 2 up just like that, and just visualize just a small section. Don't worry about the whole thing. Sometimes people have a very hard time staying on the same row, and I think you're visualizing it too far down. Pick a small section, straighten it out just like that. And I know people will put their clips in there and, you know, go down the row and do that, and that helps them stay in line. And if that helps you, that's great. I'm going to give you a tip here that maybe you won't need to do that. If you concentrate on just a small section like that, you're going to now take your yarn and your needle. Make sure your yarn length is at least the length of your tube, 1.5 times the length. This is the metal size needle on my metal wool needles. I absolutely love that size for doing this work. I will put that link down in the description box below as well, because everybody always asks me, where do you get those metal needles from? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go up to the top of your tube here. Here's that first loop. We're going to just go right in front of it, and we're going to pick up 2 bars just like that. Bring that on through. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to go into that little loop, and you're going to pick up 2 bars from that row. Just like that, in between your stitches. And you're going to bring it through. Now here, I'm going to do a few here, and then then you'll be able to see better as to why you necessarily don't need the clips. If I am straightening this out 6 or 7 or 8 stitches, then all I got to do is look where it came out on this side. So here's where my stitch came, here's where the yarn came out on this stitch. That's the last one I worked. I'm going to go into that same stitch, and I'm going to pick up 1 and 2. So if you go into the same stitch, you're going to be on the same row. So then you don't have to worry about it. Here's where it came out on this side. So I'm going to go in where it came up, and I'm going to pick up 2. So again, if you're going in where you last came out, you'll be on the same row. Okay, I'm going to turn that again. So I have a nice smooth row here. Here's where I came out. I'm going to go in. I'm going to pick up 2. Here's where I came out. I'm going to go in, and I'm going to pick up 2. It's that easy, friends. And so if this is twisting and you say, oh, I can't see the row, just untwist it, smooth out 6 to 10 stitches, and just pinch them with your 2 fingers. And here's where I came out, so I'm going to go in. Here's where I came out, so I'm going to go in. So you can go ahead and use your bobby pins or your clips and go all across the piece, but I think you could save yourself that time if you just do this simple technique that I'm showing you here. Keeping your eye, here's where I came out, so I know that's where I got to go in. That's going to keep me on the same row. Then it's twisting here, and you say, okay, so I'm going to hit down there. No, you're not, because you're going to untwist it, and you're going to smooth it out for 6 to 8 to 10 stitches, somewhere in there. There's my row. Here's where I came out. I'm going to pick up 2. Don't visualize such big, long sections, and you'll be able to do it with no problem. And I'm going to pick up 2. And I can go halfway down this tube before I have to pull this tight, because it's not a very long tube. So now I'm going to straighten this out. And I'm going to continue. I'm going to straighten out another section. See? You got it. And I'm going to continue. Let's pull this tight now. So I'm going to take my yarn tail from the other end, and down here I'm going to pull it away from each other. And when I do so, look at that. It just lines it up beautifully, joins our 2 pieces, makes it look like one, and we are sailing. So now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to find that row. You're going to straighten out a few stitches, pinch them with these 2 fingers, and then here's where it came out. That one's a little tricky to find when you pull it tight, but look for it, you'll find it. You're going to go in there, and we're going to do the same thing. Here, this one's tricky too, but just get under there. And now you're sailing. So this is the mattress stitch. I'm going to go another 1/3 of the way down. I could have gone halfway, but I'm going to go another 1/3 of the way down or so. And then I will come and tighten it with you once again. Okay, friends, here's what it's looking like. I'm going to take that end at the top here, or I can pinch where here's where we close it off to. You can pinch there too. Then you take this, and when you're pinching this to hold this in place, then you pull, and you've straightened it. Or because this piece isn't so long, you can just grab it at both ends, and you've got a beautifully smooth piece. I'm going to keep going. I'll show you what happens when I get to the top. Making it almost to the top here. I'm going to go up as far as I can. So I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to smooth out this top. You can stop here if that's easier for you, but I'm going to pick up these last 2 because you can always seam it closed when you close the top. And then those 2, I'm going to pinch where I left off, give it a pull. Then I'm going to take that other back end. And there we go. We have a beautifully attached piece. Just make sure that when you pull it, you don't gather in there, okay? You want to make sure that you have it nice and straight. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top here, and I'm just going to pick up that last stitch that oops, fell off my needle. That last stitch that I worked, going to go around it, and I'm just going to knot this off. And you can take that and you can hide your end in between one of those panels. Cut it off, get it out of your way. Go ahead, do the same to this end, and then grab your next panel, and I'll show you what to do next. I probably confused some of you because I called it a panel. They're tubes. Panels when you have a single layer. So my apologies. So we're going to now smooth out this one side, because we're gonna now you have to pay attention to where the edge is on here. When you joined your first 2, you could just grab any row, but this one we want to find the true edge. So we're gonna just smooth it out, and then I'm gonna pick it up, and there it is. Now if you pick it up and the point of the V is going to the left, just give it half a row turn and get the right side there where the wide part of the V is going to the left. Then I'm going to grab my other piece, and I'm going to, now it doesn't matter which row you pick for this one. So I'm just going to grab any row, but making sure that the wide part of the V is going to the left, just like that. And I'm going to then mattress stitch all the way down this piece, just like I did the first two. Okay, go ahead and do that. Now that we have that one done, so now we have, this is our first section, that's our second, and there's our third. We're going to fold it right in half, just like that. And now we're going to join the last two sides. Make sure you smooth it out so that you have the very edge of each half. And if you have a wonky stitch that you missed, like I do there, I don't know what happened, something snagged. It's not a tuck stitch, it was a snag. Put that on the inside. So check out your piece and make sure you look for that. And if you have something similar, then put it on the inside. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that edge. And the one on this side. And I'm going to mattress stitch my final side all the way down, tie off my ends, and meet you back. If mattress stitching is something that you are new to, congratulations, you got it all done. I've got all my ends hidden. I'm ready to go. These are all tails that are going to cinch my, you should have 3 on each side. They're going to cinch each piece together. We're going to pick a side. Doesn't matter which one, because now we have a big tube. We got to close one end. So I'm going to just take one of my tails there, and we're going to pull. Make sure when you pull that you smooth out at the same time. So pull it a little bit, then smooth this out. There you go. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take that tail. I'm going to cut it off just a little bit to make it easier to work with. And I'm going to simply, I've got it closed most of the way. It doesn't have to be completely closed yet because we're not done. But now that you have that cinched, you're going to take a couple strands here. You're going to tie it off. Oops, I got too long of a tail there. There we go. You're going to tie it off in a knot. And one more. Then you can just tuck this in between, into that center and out the inside edge. And just leave that one there. We're going to then take the next one. And we're going to do the same. Pulling and smoothing. Otherwise you get a big gathered lump, and that's not nice looking. Cut this off. Tie a knot when you have it almost closed. Oops, I'm going to just pull that through. I got too long of a tail again. And one more. And then for the third one, and we're getting that tighter. As you can see, of course, we're not done with it yet. We're going to pull on this one. Look at that. It split a stitch. Wouldn't that just figure? So all I'm going to do is cut that one little snag there, and I should be able to pull that. There we go. And it's no bother because it's way up here. We're going to smooth that out. Don't cut this one too short. You can cut it a bit shorter, but don't cut it too short because we have to finish tightening our end. I'm going to tie this to secure just once on this final one. And then you'll see that we have all 3 pieces that are forming a large circle. So here is one section here. This is the one half of the one section and the other half is down there. And it's the same here. You've got this all pulled in. You've got the top half of it out and the bottom half inside, and the same there. We're going to take our yarn tail and we're just going to come over to this next panel and take the top half. So I'm just going to go underneath the top half of that tube. Then I'm going to go over to this next one. I'm going to take the top half from one very side to the next side. So all the way, just taking half of it. Then we're going to go over to this third one. We're going to do the same thing right in the edge there. Bring it around. And the inside of that half is going to be, well, the other side of that half is going to be inside. And then we're going to be able to close this up just like that. Look at that. Isn't that perfect? Now I want you to just go around 1 or 2 more times. 1 should be enough. But if you want it to be more secure, you feel it needs to be more secure, go twice. And I'm going to just pull that over so I can get under here and find that side, that edge. There it is. And we're going to come around. And you got a nice, big, beautiful end. Almost there. There we go. Pulling that, it's completely closed. I'm going to grab a couple strands here and pull. And again, when you're pulling using these needles, don't hold the needle and pull up because you'll yank that plastic part out. Always grab the actual yarn and pull from that way. Then I'm going to take this, pop it into the center, grab it with my hand on the other side, pull it through. There's my knot. There, you saw it go inside. Give it a good yank and it goes to the inside. Then I'm going to just cut this off. We're going to go ahead and grab our eyes and our fiber fill. For this project, I'm using 24mm safety eyes, and I can use them with or without the color on the inside. When you use them without the color, then of course the white's going to show through, making the eye look a little bit smaller, or you can use the little color thing that it comes with. I'll link these in the description box below, but you just push those in like that. I'm going to set those aside, have them nice and ready. What we're going to do now is we're going to stuff this. Now we're going to stuff it, but we're going to also then remove the stuffing because we need to stuff it partially so we can see where our eyes go. So we're going to take this fiber fill, we're going to pop it up into that head. Here's where my seams are. I also want my eyes not to be over I do not want this seam, although you can't see it very well, but I don't want it to be in the middle of the eyes. So you want to be pay attention to that detail as well. And we're gonna just pop that in there. Now these safety eyes, I know that people have a hard time with, some people, you know, are really anxious about using safety eyes. I have tried many different safety eyes from Amazon, and some of them have backs that fall off quite easily, or that will slip through your stitch and is something that you need to worry about. And when I have those ones, what I do is I take a bead of hot glue and I put it on the inside of the eye before I push this thing closed. These particular eyes, they are so tight that I cannot see them coming out. So I'm not going to do that. But if you feel better about it and you feel more safe, then you go ahead and you do that with your snowman eyes. Okay, so I'm going to keep filling this. It's going to take a lot of fiber fill. This is a big snowman. Once we have it stuffed, about the amount that you're going to want it to be. You're going to play with it and put your hand in there and smooth out that stuffing, although you're going to take it out again. But it's just so that you can get the perfect visual as to where this is going to go. Now, before we do that, we are going to, and I like to do this with the stuffing in. I don't know, I think I get a straighter line when I make my cinch yarn with the stuffing in. And I should have made a mention because some of you might like to do it outside. But I'm going to take from the bottom here, and I'm going to just find a row, and I'm going to count up. We did 72 rows. I'm going to do count 36 up. So 1, 2, 3. It's not hard to do. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24. There we go. I went off camera and double counted, and that's exactly 36. So take your longest metal needle, if you're using the same needles, put a double strand of yarn on it. You're going to go under that one row, just like that, pick up both strands, pull through, and we're going to go around making a cinch yarn. Now, I realize this is hard to see because it's white, and my apologies, but hey, it's a snowman, so you have to persevere with me. Here's the next row right here. I'm going to go over top of it and then under the next. Over, under, all the way around. And when you're using a long needle, it's easy to stay straight because you can pick up both 3 at the same time. And we're going to keep going around until we get to the beginning. Under, over, under. Just like that. Now, because we knit in the circular, when you get to the beginning, your row is going to be off by 1. You're not going to meet exactly the same spot. You're going to be 1 higher or 1 lower, depend which direction this was going. And so meet me when you get to the other end, and I'll show you what I do. I'm coming up close to the end, and you know what, it might not be a jog off because you've got 3 different pieces here, so it depends how you sew, how they line up when you're sewing them. But mine looks like it's going to just be perfect, actually. But if you are, and it is, and if you are 1 row higher, let's say that you ended up there, or 1 row lower down there, on the last one, just bring it up and line it up. It's not going to make a huge difference, but you're still going to want to do it. I'm going to cut that off. And we're going to give this a tie, but not a permanent tie, just to get a bit of a shape here. I always tell you, do not choke your poor guy like that, okay? That's for any animals that we do. You want to define the neck, but you don't want to overdo it. Then give it a little twist, and that'll hold that in place. I'm going to just tie a bow with this because I'm going to probably be tightening it just a little bit more. But now that I have that there, I can pull out some of the bottom stuff so it's not in my way here. We're going to take our eyes. We're going to find, here's my seam, and here's my seam over here. So I'm going to line that up so it's like that. I'm going to push that stuffing up into the head to get it more to where I want it to be. Then I'm going to take those beautiful eyes, there's my seam right there, and I'm going to place them where I think they're going to go. Let's put it there and there. My nose is going to be there. I think that's going to be perfect. Okay, so maybe it's a little low, might go a little bit higher. You have to really judge this for yourself based on how much stuffing you've got in yours, and how much tension you used on your project. To, you know, yours might be a little bigger or a little bit smaller. I got to push some stuffing up into there. If you really don't like that, which we're going to have it covered with a hat anyways, but you could switch it over and see on the other side. But I'm going to just fix that a little bit later after my eyes are in by pushing some stuffing up into that because I don't like that. We can fix it. Okay, I got to hold this up close to me. I think that's going to be perfect. So I'm going to put these in, and then I'm going to, well, first we're going to pull out some stuffing. Sorry, guys. We're going to pull out that stuffing, and now you see why. Because I can get in there with my back. And I'm going to put one in, and then I'm going to measure and make sure that the other one's not lower or higher. Put that in there. Push, 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 push. That is tight. It's through both layers. It's not coming out. I really am confident about that. But again, you have to do what you're most comfortable with. If you don't want to put safety eyes, then you need to use yarn and make your eyes. You do whatever suits you. I think these are actually straight, so I don't think I need to. No, this one's lower. I'm going to go ahead, make sure that's in the right place, put the safety eye back on, restuff the head, and I'll meet you back. Now that I have my eyes placed, I find it easier to untie this. That's why I didn't tie a tight knot. Just untie it, and let's stuff it up as a tube then again. Because I find that when I do that, then I get a nicer neck area than if I was to divide it and then stuff it. So I'm going to do that. Make sure you stuff it nicely, but don't overstuff. If your rows start to come apart like that, take some stuffing out. You've got way too much in there. There's nothing worse, and I say this in pretty much every video, when you see these beautiful animals that are made, or pillows or whatever, and they're stuffed so fat that that your rows are separating. It takes away from the look of your work. So pay attention to that detail and you'll be much happier. Once the stuffing is starting to come out of the bottom, I'm going to then close up the bottom just like I did the top, making sure that I leave a little bit open for extra stuffing if I need it once I have that part done. I'm going to leave it a little bit open until I then shape my neck, and then I'll be able to add extra or take some out if need be. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew the bottom 2 panels and then tighten the 3rd one, but not sew it closed completely. And then I'm going to take my drawstring up here and I'm going to tighten it the way it needs to be. And then we'll be back together and we'll assess what we need to do from there, okay? Just a quick little attention to detail thing that I am doing. I didn't like it in the middle. I thought that it didn't look completely right. So I am going to take my tape measure, and if that was closed, it would be down there. And this is up here, and it's 19 inches. So 9.5 would be center. I'm going to just look at that. And I'm going to redo this part and make it a little bit higher. I think it was a little bit low. I did count in half, but with the stretching and the tension, I don't know what it was, but it just looked a little too low to me. So if yours is looking too low, before you tie it off, I can already tell that's better. It's probably only just 1, maybe 2 rows up. I'm not sure. But if yours looks a little bit low or a little bit high, before you tighten it off, then go ahead and adjust it to where you need it to be. There we go. This is part of the process, friends. Paying attention to those little details and making sure that you get it right, even if it means adjusting it just minor. So I'm going to tie this in a bow again. It's important to do it. Now I've got my bottom like that, but I can tell that I need to fill more in there. So I'm going to put it so that it's my desired amount. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie that off the way we did, the way we closed the top there. I'm going to do that to the bottom. Go ahead and do that. This guy is going to look adorable. All right, so I have the bottom closed off. I think he's looking pretty darn cute. I'm going to now take a needle, and once I have my neck the way I want it, which I do, I'm going to put this on my needle. I'm going to hide it under the stuffing, take it out the piece and cut it off, hide my 2 tails. Then we're going to grab our 22 needle machine, which I already set up, and we are going to go ahead and make the arms. So once you have that set up, you're going to grab your white. We're going to bring our last white and the first black needle in line with our yarn guide, and we're going to cast on with a drawstring cast on. Again, that's in front of the first black, behind, in front and behind, all the way around. Making sure you're letting that loosely slip through your fingers. Set your counter to 0 before you get to the end. It should be behind that last white. And there you go. Going slow on this first round. There we go. And you know, a little bit slower than you normally would go until you get a little bit of length on your project that helps to put some weight that pulls down the loops over those red teeth with ease, prevents tuck stitches. But this is BERNAT Premium, and of course my machine loves this yarn, so I can go at a fairly good clip if I want. But I'm going to go ahead, and for this arm, I'm going to do 50 rows. So friends, you're going to continue going round and round and round and round until you get 50 rows. See you when you get there. I have done 50 rows. This is actually my second arm. So if you can see the counter on my machine and you see that it says 45, that's because when I put the second arm in to do it, I forgot to set the counter until I got to row 5. So that's okay. I counted manually. But you're going to cut your yarn so that there's a yarn tail that's long enough to go around your barrel at least twice, 1.5 to 2 times. You're going to pop that on your needle, and we are going to do the drawstring cast off. So you're going to want to hold this a little bit tight, not really tight, but a little, give it some tension because you still have to finish knitting those two. And there we go. And once that first needle drops down, you can go ahead and take it off. Turn your handle. And we're going to remove all 22 stitches. And you are right. You make 2. All right, so these are our arms. So drawstring cast on, knit 50 rows, drawstring, cast off, make 2. There we go. We have 2 beautiful pieces. Give them a stretch. We're going to set one aside. We're going to take the other, and we're going to tighten one end by pulling on that drawstring. Doesn't matter which end you choose. Smooth out that top as you pull. There we go. Pop this onto your needle. Oops. I'll have the link to these metal wool needles in the description box below. Always be sure to look in the description box for important information. And there we go. I'm gonna go around that top row of stitches and pick them up just to secure this. Give it some reinforcement, go all the way around. Pull through. Pick up 2 strands, knot it off. You only need 1 knot because we're going to tie it again. Pull that knot down with your thumb. You're going to pop your hand inside of that tube. Stick that needle down through the center. Grab it with your hand so it doesn't snag the side of your work and pull. You're going to grab that end and the needle and you're going to pull it through. So your piece is in half, just like that. Taking that other end, we're going to, you can cut this one off a little bit shorter. You don't need it there. You're going to pull that tight too. Oops. Don't cut it too short until we reinforce the end. And you're going to go around the very top row of stitches. Pull that tight. It's very easy to get under there when you use these beautiful metal needles. The smallest one out of the 3, they come in 3 sizes. This smallest one is nice and pointy, so it works so well. And once you have that done, you're going to pull up on this one so that the inside layer is right up close to the top there, and then you're going to tie off in a knot. 1, 2, and I do 1 more, and 3. Give that a little snip. Turn it the other way so that those little ends are on the inside. You're going to grab a piece of yarn. You want one that's longer than that. Let me see if I have a scrap one here. One that's longer than that because we'll use it for sewing too. I'm going to pop that back on my needle. We're going to take some fiber fill and we're going to stuff this little arm. You want it full, but you don't want it overstuffed. When it goes like that, it's overstuffed. You hear me preaching that in every video. If your rows are separating, you're putting too much in there, okay? Once you get it how you like it, then give it a squeeze, and if it starts to pop out the top, that's generally my rule for knowing that I have enough in there. Then I'm going to take my needle, pop it into the side here, just pick up the edge anywhere, pull it through and tie a knot. Tuck that end onto the inside there. You're going to fold this in half. This is in the center. Fold it in half. Go over to the other side and pick it up. And one more seam across. Tying a knot to secure. Then you're going to fold these other two sides in. So take your finger and just pinch them into the center just like that. And then you're going to sew across the center. Just like that. Now what I'm going to do is with these 4 edges, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to make a flat seam. So I'm going to go pick up the top row of all 4 pieces and go across. You don't need to make them really close together. 3 or 4 is enough on this one half. This is the 3rd time I'm going across here. And the 4th time will be just into the edges here and knot it off. Taking your needle, just going into there and going up to the center. Don't pull too tight here because I want to keep this corner as a corner. If you pull too tight here, you're gonna change the shape of it. And then you're gonna close off this other side. And another knot. And when you get this one done, that side done, you're gonna trail this into the middle because I always sew my arms on from the middle point. Just like that. Pick up just a small section here. Just to knot it. And the reason why you knot it is so that if you pull on it, it's not going to gather across. Go ahead, make your second arm exactly the same way. Get the same thickness on it, and I'll see you back. Once we have that done, I feel we got to give him some snowball hands. I mean, he's a snowman, so let's give him a snowball. Looks like a snowball. Now, I'm going to measure and let you see from that very center there up, it's 2.5 inches. One of my subscribers asked me to make sure I always turn over this tape measure so they can see. There you go. And that's where we're going to, except for when I have one done, then I just have to measure it here. Go right across. And you're going to go under one row, over. I've got a yarn on this needle, of course. Under, over, leave a tail there. And you're going to go all the way around. Over one row, under one row, over one row, under one row. And hopefully you stay fairly even. There we go. And when you have that around, you're going to take your 2 ends. And I always tell you not to tie so tight that you choke the poor guy when it's the neck, but when it's the arm, the snowball, let's see. I pay attention to detail, friends, and I am very nitpicky. That's too far down. So I'm going to take it out and I am going to go higher by a row and even it off. And you should do the same thing if that happens to you, even though we measured it. Okay, so what you're going to do at this point is you would tie it really tight to get that snowball effect at the bottom. I always tell you in the necks not to choke the poor guy, but for the hand, you want it really to have a good separation. So you're going to tie it tight. So that's what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to put my ends on my needle, hide them in, cut it off. There we go. Isn't that better? It's worth taking the time. So take one of these, grab your big guy. You're going to pop this on your needle. I hope my camera's high enough. This guy is huge. And then here's a little tip for you that I should have told you when you put your eyes on. But if you didn't do it with this one, you'll figure it out and you'll do it for your next one. Put them just a tad bit lower than you think because that beanie comes quite low. I mean, not too much lower, don't go crazy, but don't have them too high up on the head or your beanie's not going to look good. Okay, so we're going to have this like this. We're going to visualize where the side is. So I'm going to turn this little thing, big thing, on its side. Here's the eye, here's the back of the head. I'm going to just find what I think is the side, which is here, the middle. I'm going to pick up a stitch, and because we left our seam in the middle of our arm, it's in the middle, wherever we put this is going to be center. And I'm going to just turn it to the front here. See if I think, yep, I think that's going to be good. I'm going to sew this on, but I'm not going to knot it off until I have the second one on. So then I'm going to come up to the top here. I'm going to pick up that seam, and I'm going to go, here's where I came out. I'm going to go right beside it. Don't take big pieces over. Go right beside where you last were in. And then pull that tight. Being careful, don't want to snap it. You only need 2 or 3 stitches across. This is the second one. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to pick this up. And then instead of going at the top corner there, I always go down the side of the arm. Pick up this first row of stitches down the side of the arm. And then from there, you take it in at the edge up to the center and pull. And watch what happens when I pull it. You've seen this many times, but here's the square arm. Now I pull it and it takes it in and makes it rounded. And it just gives it a better finish. Now I always say, attention to detail is everything. Now you're gonna go down the other side and you're gonna do exactly the same thing. You're gonna pull, you're gonna put this needle in right where you came out. And you're gonna sew it up this side, grab the one stitch on this side, go back down into the center and pull it tight, and then leave this hanging until you have the second one on and you make sure that they're both centered. When you have them both on and they're both centered, then meet me back and we'll tie off one together. I got them both on, and until we get the nose on, he doesn't really look like a snowman, but I think that they are centered right perfectly how I want them. So I have this coming out the center at the bottom. I'm just going to grab that top row of stitches that's right there, and we're going to knot off. That's one. Push that knot down with your thumb. Generally, when I do arms, I have to reposition at least one of them a second time. This time I got it on the first try. Go up into that stuffing, out the arm, pull up to get that knot on the inside, cut off, and do it on the other arm. I think they're going to be perfect. Let's go ahead and give this beautiful little guy a nose. Once you have your 22 needle machine set up, actually you can do this on your bigger machines too, it doesn't matter, because we're doing a flat panel over 11 needles. Now I like to do my flat panels in circular mode, always making that middle black needle the middle needle of my panel. So I'm going to do this over 11 needles, which means this will be the middle one. I'll do 5 on this side, 5 on that side. I want to make mention that I do have a tutorial on my channel showing you how to do a flat panel, and I'll take way more time to explain it to you on that if you need to go ahead and watch that to learn, and then come back and do this, because this is not a tutorial on teaching a flat panel. It would take way too long and much time in the video. So I'm going to give you some details, but if you want more details, check out that video that I have on my channel. So this is the middle one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this side. We're going to cast on, draw string, cast on, behind and in front, behind and in front. That's the middle one. So 5 on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's going to go under that red divider that's to the left of that last needle. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin knitting. So help that one down over the divider if it didn't go on its own. Change your row counter to 0. This is why I like to have the black needles in the middle, because then it counts every row. Okay, so a little bit of tension to start your row, and then you're going to go, making sure those loops are dropping down over the red teeth. Help that last one there. Go past the last needle until you get under the divider that's right beside it, then turn and go the other way. Make sure that that loop drops down under the red, over the red teeth, and we're going to go back. You always have to help the first and the last needle, really. Here's the last needle. I'm going to wait till it goes under that red divider, then I'm going to go back. I always put a little bit of tension as I go over this red bump on both sides. Then I loosen my tension. So a little tension there. That makes your side of your panel be a lot nicer. Okay, we're gonna go back, push that down. Here's the red divider after that last needle. I'm gonna now put a little tension. I'm gonna go back. It's not hard, don't be scared. We all had to learn at some point. I had to learn too, and I put it off and put it off and put it off. And then once it connected, and you'll be so proud of yourself once it connects and you are able to figure it out. Don't be scared. Just don't use too much tension. Only at the beginning and of each row. Okay, and this is 9. We're doing 13 rows. 10. 11. 12. And 13. You can go ahead and cut off a yarn tail. Cut off one a little bit longer than the panel. Back that up. Then you can just let all those needles drop down. Well, that one is going to give you some hassle, but we'll get it. Then you're going to take your needle. So you're going to let it drop down and bring it all the way around. But stop before that needle on your first loop begins to rise, or it'll push that loop right off. Okay, then we're going to pick up our stitches just like this. And pick them up. Almost went too far there, you saw that. And here, and that last one sunk down with the needle, so all I have to do is bring it forward, put that loop down over, go backwards, pick it up. There we go, we've got our little piece for our nose. I'm going to remove my machine from its place and I'll see you right back. Here's our cute little nose. Even though it's small, you gotta give it a stretch. Take any end, either end I should say, and let's pull it tight. Pop this on your needle. Should have done it with the other one because it was shorter, so I'm going to undo that since it's easy, because I'll need that one for sewing. Take your shortest tail. Give that a pull. Smooth it out as you do so. Pop this on your needle. And just join it over on the other side here. And pull. Let's give that one row of reinforcement. So around that top row of stitches. And around and over to this side. And there you go. Let that hang just for a second. Take this other one. We're going to keep this straight. Might have been easier to do this side first, but it's easy either way because it's a small piece. You're going to keep this one straight, and then you're going to just fold it over about 2 rows just to get a small little edge on there. And from there, you're going to just go into here so that you have a join. Fold this over 2 rows, 1.5, 2 rows, then go in there and just sew it down. I'm going to go through and then back. Once you get it started, it's very, very quick and easy. Through, pull, fold it down 1.5 rows or 2, whatever's easiest for you, wherever it naturally falls, and sew it across. This is going to give us a firmer edge when we sew it onto our piece because it's double thickness. It'll hold better. And we're going to take that around to the corner, get in there, tie a knot, let that down. Okay, so you've got your edge there. You're going to take this other one that we started with, pop that back on your needle, and we are going to seam up the side. Now this is such a little piece, but even still, attention to detail. Let's find the row where the wide part of the V is going up and where the wide part of the V up or left. We're going to go in, and we've done this already, so I'm not going to go into detail. I'm going to mattress stitch up the side. Because we did this lots on our snowman, so you're pros at it. And take that up to the top. And when you get it up, get as close to the top as you can. Pinch the base, give it a pull. Oop, don't snap it. Of course, there's a little wonky stitch there, or maybe not. Hang on. And then once you have that, I can put that on the bottom. It's fine though. Once you have that done, you can take these two. Keep the longest one long. Cut off the shorter one. Tie a knot. Stuff that little short tail into your piece. Grab some fiber fill. Very little, of course. And you're gonna poke that down into your piece. And it's just like with a big piece. You don't put so much that you're, see how that's, you can see it through because I put too much. Take it out. Take it out, I say, take it out. And there you go. Just play with that a little bit. Put this back onto your needle. Grab the big guy. And we are going to sew this on. When you place it, you're going to just place it right below the eyes. There's the eyes, and into the center, of course. And then you're going to go into the piece. You're going to pick up a stitch and fiber fill. Then you're going to pick up the base just like that. And you're going to pull. Go into your piece right close to that base. Pick up edge of the base and pull. Stop every once in a while and adjust to make sure it's actually in the middle. Do that all the way around. Close to the base and pull. You do not want to see little orange lines going up your face. That would just not be cool. So get as close as you can. Stop and reassess every once in a while because this little thing slightly moves and you'll have it off-centered. Go ahead, do that all the way around until you meet the other point. When you get all the way around, you just lift them up, make sure that it's actually centered. And then you can go ahead, grab a stitch on the side, pull through. You cannot, let's do it one more time. Tuck that into the nose, under the stuffing, out another space, cut it off, and we've got our carrot nose, yay! Let's go ahead and grab some black yarn and make the mouth. So on this one, all I did was trail in. I went down to here, just even with the center of the mouth, and then I went straight up. Made one row, then I came back and I did this so that there's 3 strands. Then I went up and I did 3 strands this way, came back out where I went in and tied a knot and cut off. For this other one, we're gonna do him a little bit different. Taking our biggest needle, we're gonna come up on the side here. We're going to do the side part first. So we're gonna go up to where we think it's right. Pull that through, leaving a tail for sewing. I'm gonna go down. So it's that's a row and a half. Go back up into that corner. Pull, and when you pull, don't pull tight because you'll gather your rows and that's just nasty. Okay, we're gonna go in one more time. That's 2. And then back down into here, we'll make it 3. And I'm gonna make my piece that's under my mouth here before I do my sides. That way I can get it centered. Okay, so I'm gonna go into there. I'm gonna go under the stuffing and I'm gonna come up, about there, about there. That's about lined up with the nose there. Pull that, again, not tight. I'm gonna go over here. Then I can come back up to this one here. So I can go up to here, and I'm gonna come back. A little bit of a space between. Then I can judge that, let's see. I'm gonna just go down one and come over. And I want one more. Can be a little bit smaller, doesn't matter. I'm gonna go over here. That's over one row, so I'm gonna measure this one over one row. And then go boop, up to about there. And let's see, well, there. See, if I did it systematically like that, then I get it fairly reasonably same. That's a little too high. I'm trying to make this one. So this one's a little too high. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to go under the stuffing right there. And I'm going to go down. And this one's down over 1.5 rows. So there we go. Back up. Now I've made my base. I'm going to now go over each of these. This one's done 3 times already. I'm going to do 3 and make sure that those all have 3 on them. It is now time for our beanie. So I'm going to bring my last white, my first black in line with my yarn guide. We're going to cast on. This is my inside color of the hat. So if you don't have enough of your regular color of what you're using, choose whatever color that you want, because this is going to be the inside that you're not going to see. We're going to cast on behind and in front, behind and in front, all the way around. And before we get to the end, we set our row counter to 0. Gonna loosen it out of my ball because it's fairly tight. Here we go. Now, friends, here's the thing. We are making a normal beanie, one that fits your head for this jumbo snowman. So you choose whatever beanie pattern you like. Be creative. I'd love to see your creations in my Facebook group. Choose any beanie that you see on my channel and make that and put it on your snowman and then show us in my Facebook group. But for me, we're going to just make a fold up brim beanie, and we're going to go slow this first round. I am not using my electrical adapter for this because it doesn't like this yarn. Neither does it when I'm doing it by hand. Like now it's calling me a liar because it's working, but for the last beanie, it just gave me lots of trouble. But I'm just gonna go slowly and I'm gonna get her done. We're gonna do 50 rows for the inside of our beanie. Okay, so keep going and I'll see you when you get to row 50. This has been slow going. I've maintained this speed because if I've gone any faster, I get tucked stitches. So this is just one where it's just a relaxing beanie. Okay, that's 50. Sorry, I almost did 51. That's 50 right there. So this is the inside of our beanie. Now, when I was in the States, I only bought one ball of this. Why? I don't know. I wasn't thinking. It's called Orange Zest, but it's got red in it. And it goes really, really well with this red. This is a true red color, but it picks up more on the darker fleck that's in there. So it goes beautifully together. Now, I only bought one ball. And so for the last beanie that I did, you can see when you go look at the beginning of the video and the pictures of them, the beanies are the opposite colors. I still did use this color for the inside, okay? Instead of using this one and then carrying the brim through with it, I just used this color. So I did 50 rows of this color, and then I did 40 rows of this one. Because now we're going to do our, and the 40 rows that I did of this one was the brim that folds up, okay? So I did, for the other color, I did 50 rows of this. Then this next part, I did 40 rows of this. But for this other hat, I want the brim to be this solid red. So I'm gonna continue on, and I'm gonna do 40 more rows of this solid red. And then when I get there, I'll see you back and I'll tell you what I do for the outside half of the beanie, okay? So I'm gonna keep going till my counter says row 90. And so right now from row 51 to row 90, I'm working on the fold up brim. I do my brims 40 rows. Okay, so keep going. If you're staying with the same color, keep going. If not, then whatever color your brim is, you do 40 rows. Of course, once it's touching the table, you're going to pick it up and you're going to roll it into a donut for the same reasons I explained for the body, and then you keep going. All right, I'm finished row 90, so let me just recap for you. We did the first 50 rows, which is the inside of our beanie. Then we did 40 rows for the color of our brim. So when it's folded in half, it'll be a 20 row thickness for a brim. So the inside is red, the brim is red. Now we want the outside to be this color. If you have enough of this yarn, go ahead and do the next 50 rows in this color. If you don't, and you want to make one ball of this go for both snowmen, here's what you're going to do. Because this, when your brim is rolled up, it's covering the bottom 20 rows of the outside of your beanie. I'm going to do another 20 rows of this, and I'm going to do 30 rows of this. I'll probably do 18 rows of this and 32 rows of this. Okay, so I don't want to confuse you, and I probably have, but when you're doing a double color beanie with the brim a different color from the actual beanie, you do 50 rows for the inside, you do 40 rows for the brim, and you do 50 rows for the outside. Now you can make your 50 rows inside and your 50 rows outside two different colors, and then you have a reversible hat when you put your brim on either side. And you can just feel free to do it that way as well. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to finish the last 50 rows of my beanie. Again, use this color if that's what you have enough of. I'm going to do 30 more, pardon me, about 20 rows of this color and then 30 rows of this, because my brim is going to cover the bottom half anyways. I need to save some of this for the scarf. All right, so I think I explained that well enough to you. And if I didn't, go to my channel and look for the beanie that has a double color on it, where fold up brim with double color, and follow that pattern. That's exactly what I'm doing. All right, so go ahead, finish your last 50 rows and I'll see you back. But before we do that, sorry, let's do our jogless join. I'm going to do that with you and then I'm going to change it. I'm going to pop that into the center, okay? Because if you're doing your color change, you're going to need to do this. And then I'll just change it off camera so I don't confuse anybody. You're going to take your new color, you're going to pop that into your yarn guide. And to do the jogless join, you're going to bring that around just like that to the other side of that white needle. You're going to grab both yarn tails. You're going to knit 4 or 5 needles. You're going to help those down underneath over the little red bumps there, and then take your working yarn and pull both ends away from each other, and that gives you a nice snug up tension at the beginning of your work. I'm going to knit 2 or 3 rows with this color. So follow me as though I am doing this solely, and then I'm going to switch it and you'll never know. I shouldn't have even told you. But yes, I should have, because you might want to just make one ball last 2. So now once you do 3 rows, you can take these 2, pull them away from each other, and you could feel that snug into place. I often do my jogless joins when the project is off the machine, but because there's only one, we're going to do it here. So I pulled it until you heard it fall into place and you felt it, and you're going to tie the first knot, but not really tight, because you don't want to have it puckering there. You tie the second one really tight, and then you cut it off, and you keep going, and you keep going until you have 140 rows on your counter, or 50 rows of this color. I'm clicking on row 140, and by looking at the ball of this variegated yarn, I very likely could have just done the whole thing, the whole 50 rows in this color, but better to be safe than sorry. There we go. I saw my black divider coming around, and I'll stop those white and black needle in line with my yarn feeder. You're going to cut off a tail long enough to go around your barrel 1.5 to 2 times. Open that latch, pop that between the last white and the first black, because we still have to finish knitting these two. So we're going to just go ahead and pop those down and get those knit. And we're going to cast off, taking our needle. I'm going to cast off in a different way this time. I showed you one way in the other piece, and now I'll show you another way. We're going to rotate our barrel till it goes almost, oops. You saw it get stuck there for a second, and it's freaked me out big time. So I stopped the camera to see what it was. All it was this loop was stuck tight on the base of that needle, and it wouldn't let my barrel move. So, whew, so glad. So you go almost all the way around. You see that black divider? You know that it's coming around. So here's where our yarn feeder is. We want to go about there. So just a little bit past that screw, because this needle just popped up. This one's next, this one's next, and this one's next. This is our first needle. And on the second time around, if that needle popped up, it would push this loop off the 2 red teeth, and it would drop your row. So you can't go all the way around when you're doing it this way. All these stitches are loose. So now we're going to just keep turning our handle and picking them up. Come straight out to the side here. When you pull through, don't go up, because if you go up and you go too hard, you'll take your loop off the next one there. And we don't want to do that. See, there's one that got stuck too. This yarn is testing my patience, but let's just keep going. What's going to happen here? I'm not going to go off camera. I'm going to just let you see this. And now there's a knot here. It's not because I'm casting off this way. I do this all the time. It's because this yarn is a little funny to deal with. You have to have some patience if you're going to do it. I'm going to back this up and see if I can see that a little bit better. Oh my, that is really stuck in there. Well, I'm going to keep going. My yarn tail is long enough because I have to go until this needle goes up, and then I'll be able to release that off of there. And I'll show you what we're going to do once it's released, because I don't want to fight it and break it. See, now that needle came up, so I can release this. And what I'm going to do, looks like it was a tuck stitch, but I don't think it was, because I see everything that goes around and I never noticed a tuck stitch. But we're going to take that. I'm going to turn it over. It wasn't a tuck stitch. Oh, yeah, here it was. I don't know, it was a wonky stitch. So I'm going to just pick up this loop here and then grab that other one and take it through. I'm going to put, that's not going to probably happen to you. This is the first time I think that's ever happened to me. Like, I'm not even joking. So then I'm going to hold it like that. So I'm sure it won't happen to you, but something just got caught. And we're going to continue around. And then when I have this all off the machine, I can make sure I catch that loop when I tighten the end. Pull this through, and I'll show you when we get to that part, okay? Almost done. And 46. Pull that through. I've been working long hours on these snowmen. I'm just going to be honest. and I'm tired. And so I'm not functioning as good as I normally do. So I'm taking that as my cue that I need to take a break. So I'm gonna put that there and I'm gonna go get a coffee and take a break, and I'm gonna come back and finish that. For you, it's gonna be just 1 second into the next clip, but for me, I'm gonna go take a reasonably long break. Okay, see you in a bit. All right, that was a nice little break. I needed that. So we're going to unroll our beanie. Here's where I thought I would need to make up some space with. Well, you know the story. And here we go. We're gonna stretch this out. All the way. We're gonna take one end. Let's take this inside end, the red end, and we're gonna pull, smoothing this out as we do so. And I'm not gonna videotape every section of what I'm doing because my video is getting long already and we still have pieces to go. We're going to pop that on our needle. I want you to take it and reinforce around the top. Go around once, tie off in one knot. Once we have that done, we're gonna pop our hand into the center of this big beanie. We're gonna stick the needle into the top here, grab it with our hand so that we don't snag the side of the work. Grab the needle and pinch the top of your beanie and put it right in half. Just like so. Then you're gonna take that knot and you're gonna pull it through. You're gonna go ahead and you're going to take this other side and you're gonna pull it, and you know that one that snagged on us. When we are closing up the end here by grabbing the top row of stitches like what we just did on the other side, we're gonna make sure we grab that stitch that is hooked in to our bobby pin, and that way we won't drop our row. There's an extra little loop here. I'm just gonna grab them both. And once you grab them, you know they're secure, you can take out your bobby pin. I'm gonna tuck that bigger loop into my work. I don't know where that came from, but he's history because he's gone into this. Oops. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to go around the very top row here as well. And reinforce it. Go around one time, reinforce it, and I'll see you back. There we go. I reinforced it. Now taking that tail that was from the inside that you brought through, you're going to pull up so that the inside comes up close to the outside. You're going to tie a firm knot, and again, and again. Cut these off. Put these ones on your needle and hide them between your work, between your two layers. Out it comes. Snip it off. Let's just smooth this out. When you roll up your brim, there you go. You see how I said that was going to be covered? Because our 40 rows now got rolled up. This is 20 rows. 20 rows was on this side and 20 was here. That rolls it up, meets that edge there where we ended off, and I was able to save some yarn, and that is absolutely beautiful. Love it. As a final touch to our beanie, you're going to make a pom-pom. Now, I did not make it with you because, again, there's so many different tutorials within this one tutorial that you need to go to my channel and look up how to make a pom-pom on a Clover Pom Pom Maker. I've used this one. The number is 65 on the back. It's a third size in the set of 4, I think. Yeah, third largest of the 4 that I've got. And for this particular pom-pom, I did solid red. For the other one, I did one strand of each of these. I wanted to do them different. I don't want to have both snowman, they're going to be standing beside each other, so I don't want to have them both. I want them to coordinate, but I don't want them the same. So solid for one, 2 strands of different colors for the other snowman. All right, so there's the hat. I'm going to place that on his head, and we're going to grab our 22 needle machine and we're going to make the scarf. Before we do that, we're going to put his beanie on his head. Now, I did it off camera because I can't hold it under the camera and do it. You have to literally put your hand under there and tuck the head because it's soft. You're not working on a hard surface. You have to tuck that head up into the beanie and get it nice and firm. Then you're going to take a piece of yarn, a foot long or so. You're going to take this pom-pom and you're going to bring it over to the side of the head just like that. I'm going to go right into the head. Make sure the beanie's where you want it. Right into the head with this strand. Then I'm going to wrap it around this pom-pom on both sides. I'm going to tie a knot. Just like that. That's going to hold that down in place absolutely beautifully. Then you're going to take another tie, put that in there, and even a third one if you like. I'm classic for doing 3. Then you can take this, you can hide it inside, or you can cut it off the length of your pom-poms. That's the easiest. And this is going to stay put, and it's tied down to the head too, so that helps to anchor it. Oh, isn't he just like so adorable? They come to life when you give them a mouth. Let's grab our 22 needle and our yarn. We are on the final part. We're going to take our red yarn. Now for the other scarf, I started with the other color, so I'm just doing opposite with this one. Okay, so if you're making 2 snowmen to stand together, you're going to just do this scarf the way I'm doing it, and then you're going to do one with the opposite colors. So I'm going to cast on behind that first black and do the drawstring cast on all the way around, making sure I set my counter before I get to the end. Into the yarn feeder it goes. 10 rows. My 22 likes this yarn better than my 46. I don't get it because needles are the same distance apart. It's the same construction. It just likes to, these machines just like to keep us on our toes. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Watching for that black divider to come around. I'll stop it in front of my yarn feeder. I'm going to go ahead and cut off a little tail. We're going to take our variegated. First, this goes between the last white, the first black, as does this one, until we do a jogless join. Bring it around that side. Hold those 2, knit 4 or 5 needles. Then you're going to grab the working end and the tail end of that and pull them away from each other. And you can watch how that's snugged up in there. This is the main color for our scarf. We are going to first do 3 rows. Just because we're going to fix that jogless join while it's on the machine in this case. Okay, I'll pass it 3 or 4, it doesn't matter, as long as you can reach down and get it. Then you're going to take these 2 ends, you're going to pull them apart, and just until it falls into place, and then you're going to tie it. And cut it off. That's done. You don't have to worry about it. This part is going to have 110 rows. So we already did 10 rows of the red. Now we're going to do 110 rows of this color. That will take us to 120 on our counter. Then you're going to switch back to the solid red. You're going to do a jogless join. You're going to knit 3 or 4 rows, and then you're going to tie it off. And you're going to go till your counter says 130. So we did 10 rows of solid, 110 rows of variegated, 10 rows of solid. Then you're going to do a drawstring cast off. I'm not going to do this whole thing with you because it's repetitive to what we've been doing. Okay, so let me just recap that one more time. We added our first color, which was solid. We did 10 rows. Then we added our variegated, did a jogless join. We're doing 110 rows of this color. Then you're going to change back to your solid color, do a jogless join, and do 10 more rows. Your counter will be 130. Then you're going to cut off a tail long enough to go around your barrel 1.5 to 2 times, and you're going to do the drawstring cast off. When you have that done, come back and see me. As your project gets long and starts to touch the table, pick it up and just let it fall. Then it won't bunch up on you. Have fun, friends. I'll see you when you have it off the machine. All right, the scarf is finished and off the machine, and you're going to give it a stretch lengthwise and widthwise. Then you're going to take an end and you're going to pull it closed, smoothing it out as you go. You can cut this off, you don't need it so long. I say that on every time we do this. And then you're going to just go around the perimeter, top row stitches 1 time. And the other scarf has the variegated here and the solid as the main base of the scarf. Okay? Give that a knot. And then another one. Pop that into the center and out the side. Give it a little pull to hide that knot. Not that it matters because you're going to have a pom-pom on there. Cut that off. I already did it to the other side. You're going to make yourself a pom-pom. This time you're going to use the smallest clover. If you do not have these clover makers, friends, you got to get them. They are the absolute best. So watch the video on how to use the Clover Pom Pom Maker that I have on my channel, and I'll also have these linked in the description box below. And please click on those links. I'm a part of the Amazon Affiliates program, and I do receive a very small commission when you click on a link and then order. So I'd appreciate that if you would use those links. There you go. I've got my small pom-pom. I'm going to take 1 strand, and we're going to go into the center and out the side. Take the other one, into the center and out the opposite side. Then you're going to take those 2 tails and you're going to tie them nice and tight under the pom-pom, just like that. Now, the pom-pom on the top of the beanie that's going to go with this snowman is solid red. So I did these pom-poms on the scarf, a variegated, and it's the opposite for the other snowman. This one is red and it's variegated on the top of the beanie. Okay, then you just cut these off equal height. And you go ahead and you wrap this around our gorgeous little snowman, big snowman. Now on the other one, just a little attention to detail. The mouth is on this side here. Put the tie of the scarf on the opposite side, so it's not in the way of the mouth and you see the mouth, and there you go. For this one, because the mouth is in the center, it doesn't matter what side you tie this on. I can't get a good shot of him laying down, but oh my gosh, you stand him up. These are like so beautiful, you guys, seriously. They are so, so cute. We have one last thing to do, and that is sew the buttons on. Now, I did not do that on camera with you because we all know how to sew on buttons, but I'm going to give you an idea how tall this dude is. 18 inches, 1.5 feet. 1.5 feet, let's see how fat he is. On his widest part here. 27 inches around. That's like 24 to 5. That's 2 feet and 3 inches around. This thing is big, you guys. Oh, I just love it so much. You put these on your craft table and they are gonna fly out the door, but you gotta charge a good amount because you also got a beanie that's like worth its own thing. But I think, oh, I just am happy about them. I hope you are too. Thanks again for joining me, my friends. I cannot wait to see your snowman. Please hurry up, go make some and show me in my Facebook group. Take care and have a blessed day.